Good afternoon, everybody. This is Casper from the Tropical Weather Threat Society bringing you a special update regarding the imminent landfall here of Hurricane Melissa into the southwestern portions of the island of Jamaica. We are awaiting the 1 p.m. update and the landfall declaration. For folks that may not know, landfall will not be declared until the center of the center crosses the shoreline. So it's any minute now. We are expecting the National Hurricane Center to release that information as far as where landfall has been officially declared. This is probably one of the most catastrophic situations that we've seen in modern history, folks. That there's no putting it aside. What I have here is the mesoscale loop of an infrared satellite imagery from GOES that is 3 hours long. I have 180 frames to this, and as you could see, I really expect the landfall statement to come out any moment now because the center of the eye has crossed the shoreline. And let's see, we are going to go right there. So let's go to our track. Let's see if we can get a location. Maybe Fount Hill, Crawford, Bruce's Hill, Culloden, somewhere in that range. Cause see, this is Black River right here, and it's to the west of that. So Black River is here and it's up here. Maybe near, again, this Culloden, Bruce's Hill, Mount Airy, Beeston Spring. Oh, wow. Kilmarnock, Carmel, New Roads, all this entire area, folks. And if I zoom out, this was the forecast track at the 11 a.m. advisory. So what this is showing, though, is the overall size of the wind field. Our light green wind field, that would be our 50 knot winds or 58 miles an hour. Our orange will be our hurricane force winds. And it is absolutely catastrophic. There is our 1 p.m. and it does make landfall. Okay, Category 5, Melissa makes landfall in Jamaica, one of the most powerful hurricane landfalls on record in the Atlantic Basin. Melissa has made landfall in southwestern Jamaica near New Hope, with an estimated sustained winds of 185 miles an hour and an estimated minimum central pressure of 892 millibars. That ties it for the strongest landfall ever recorded in the Atlantic Basin with the 1935 Great Labor Day Hurricane in the Florida Keys, when it made landfall with a minimum central pressure of 892 millibars and 185 mile an hour winds estimated. We know that this is a certainty with this one. Being that at an 892, I am sure that those folks there in the Keys back in the 30s, they seen something very similar. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Do not leave your shelter as the eye passes over, as winds will quickly and rapidly increase on the other side of the eye. Residents should remain in place through the passage of these life-threatening conditions. To protect yourself from the wind, the best thing you can do is put as many walls as possible between you and the outside. An interior room without windows, ideally where you can also avoid falling trees, is the safest place you can be in a building. You can cover yourself with a mattress and wear a helmet for added protection, which is all of that would be highly recommended. The next position update will be provided with the intermediate advisory at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So as of the 1 p.m. landfall declaration, we are located at 18.1 north, 78.0 west, about 25 miles southeast of Negril, Jamaica, and about 145 miles south of Guantanamo, Cuba. Maximum sustained winds 185 miles an hour. Present movement is north-northeast at 9 miles an hour or 25 degrees. And the minimum central pressure is an unbelievable 892 millibars. Now, folks, at this point, yes, we know everything about what is about ready to unfold here for Jamaica. Obviously, we're dealing with landfall right now of the tied for the strongest landfall ever recorded here in the Atlantic Basin. There's not really much more than we can do for the folks there in Jamaica, other than if you are religious, say many prayers, not just one. There are going to be, this is a humanitarian crisis unfolding right before our eyes right now. We are watching this unfold in real time, to where the catastrophic flooding, the amount of wind damage, the infrastructural failures, the structural failures of buildings and homes and apartments and just anything really in the path of this thing is going to potentially be forever changed. This is, for comparison, for the folks in the United States, just to kind of give you something you may be able to wrap your head around with this one. So this storm would be basically the equivalent of approximately a 50-mile wide high-end EF4 tornado. So we're looking at, you look at those really, really massive tornadoes and those wedge tornadoes that we see in the Midwest that are just awe-inspiring and complete destruction, whatever it hits. That's what we're looking at with this particular hurricane. There's no question, there should be no question in anybody's mind whether this name will get retired or not. It's going to happen. This is guaranteed to be retired when the World Meteorological Organization Region 4 gets their meeting. They're here in 2026. I promise that this will be retired. There's no doubt about it. Knowing that the situation of what we are seeing here in Jamaica, it would be a disservice of us to just totally concentrate on nothing but the Jamaican landfall, because we know that there are innocent lives still at risk for threatening situations from this storm in Cuba, in the Bahamas. And we need to make sure that we still communicate that information, even as hard as it may be, knowing that a humanitarian crisis is unfolding right before our eyes. So, if you guys please bear with me, I do have to, I feel very obligated to ensure that the folks up the line are still getting the information with the most recent advisory. So I do have to go through the hazards affecting land portion of the primary advisory that was issued at the 11 a.m. Update, just to make sure that those folks, again, further along in the forecast, have their most updated information. As far as wind is concerned, catastrophic hurricane force winds are spreading over Jamaica within the eye wall of Melissa. Total structural failure is likely near the path of Melissa, especially in higher elevations where the wind speeds atop and on the windward side of hills and mountaintops could be up to 30% stronger. Do not venture out in the eye as the winds will rapidly increase within the backside of the eye wall. Again, do not venture out into the eye. Tropical storm conditions are expected to begin in eastern Cuba this afternoon, with hurricane conditions expected in the hurricane warning area starting tonight into Wednesday morning. Tropical storm conditions are expected in Haiti later today and Wednesday. Hurricane conditions are expected in the southeastern and central Bahamas on Wednesday. Tropical storm conditions are expected and hurricane conditions are possible in the Turks and Caicos Islands on Wednesday. Rainfall. Melissa is expected to bring rainfall of 15 to 30 inches to portions of Jamaica and additional rainfall of 6 to 8 inches within the localized maximum to 12 inches for southern Hispaniola through Wednesday, with storm total local maxima of 40 inches possible. Catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides are likely. For eastern Cuba, storm total rainfall of 10 to 20 inches, with local amounts to 25 inches, is expected into Wednesday, resulting in life-threatening and potentially catastrophic flash flooding with numerous landslides. Over the southeast Bahamas, rain is expected to develop later today and continue into Wednesday. Total rainfall of 5 to 10 inches is expected to result in areas of flash flooding. For the Turks and Caicos, rainfall totals of 2 to 4 inches are expected. Heavy rain may begin to affect Bermuda Thursday night. Storm surge. Life-threatening storm surge is ongoing along the south coast of Jamaica right now. Peak storm surge heights could reach 9 to 13 feet above ground level near and to the east of where the center of Melissa makes landfall. This storm surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves. On the northwest coast of Jamaica, near Montego Bay, there is the possibility of 2 to 4 feet of storm surge above ground level. There is a potential for significant storm surge along the southeast coast of Cuba late today or Wednesday. Peak storm surge heights could reach 8 to 12 feet above normal tide levels, near and to the east of where the center of Melissa makes landfall. This storm surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves. The 8 to 12 feet for eastern Cuba that is an increase from the previous advisory, which had it at 7 to 11 feet. Storm surge of 5 to 8 feet above normally dry ground is possible in the southeastern Bahamas on Wednesday, and 2 to 4 feet above normally dry ground in the Turks and Caicos Islands on Wednesday. That is also an increase from 4 to 6 feet in the southeastern Bahamas that we had from the previous update. And then minor coastal flooding is expected along the coast of Haiti. And the surf. Folks, stay out of the water. We have a historic event unfolding here in the Caribbean. Don't get in the water, please. We are unfortunately going to see more loss of life than we would have ever wanted. And one is too many. I can think of around 11 that have been reported so far. Now that we have this storm causing unbelievable catastrophic damage that will take many years, if not a generation, to recover from there. So please, folks that are in Cuba, that are in the Bahamas, rush your preparations to completion. This storm is not playing. This storm is no joke. And for the folks there in Cuba and in the southeastern Bahamas, you may think that, yeah, and it is true that this storm is going to weaken from what it is. But you have to also please understand that this storm is starting its weakening process from 185 miles an hour and 892 millibars of central pressure. It is going to take an extremely long time for this to weaken. The land interactions here with the island of Jamaica, yes, while it will weaken that storm, I guarantee it still hits Cuba as a major hurricane. There is no doubt about it. And this, folks, is right now, I'm going to say this with everything that we saw, the only other types of damage that I can imagine that would be related to this that we've seen in recent memory is going to be Dorian into the Bahamas, and then Maria and Irma in parts of Cuba and the islands. I'm not talking about Irma in Florida, folks. No, I'm not talking about U.S. Irma. I'm talking about Cat 5 Irma down in the islands and into Cuba. This is, there's no words to really truthfully describe the impacts from this. It leaves you speechless in many terms, because there are so many innocent people that never ever deserved to encounter or experience or to even try to understand or fathom what this is and what this is going to do to those innocent folks. Again, my heart breaks for these people. Trying to keep people safe is the whole reason we do what we do. And I just keep telling myself, if we save one, it was worth it. Though I'm not going to lie to you folks, I wish I could just wrap my arms around the entire island and save them. But we are powerless against the wrath of Mother Nature when it comes to systems like this. We are powerless. All we can do is prepare. There's nothing we can do to stop it. There's just way too much energy. I mean, folks, this is bad. This is worse than anything we've seen in a very long time. I am truthfully at a loss for words. All right, let me get through paragraph 2 and paragraph 3 of the 11 a.m. forecasters discussion for those folks that have not yet been directly impacted by Melissa, and that will be over the coming next 24, 36 hours. The initial motion at that time was 25 degrees at 8 knots. This general motion should continue with some increase in forward speed. With the center, obviously, we've already made landfall in Jamaica and reaching eastern Cuba late tonight or early Wednesday. After that, a faster motion towards the northeast should bring the center through the southeastern and central Bahamas on Wednesday and near Bermuda on Thursday or Thursday night. After passing Bermuda, the cyclone should continue quickly northeast into the North Atlantic. The new forecast track is similar to the previous track through 36 hours and a little north of the previous track after that time. Melissa should weaken over Jamaica as the inner core gets disrupted by the mountainous terrain. However, the cyclone should maintain major hurricane status until the center reaches eastern Cuba. After leaving Cuba, Melissa should encounter increasing southwesterly vertical shear that should cause steady weakening, although the cyclone should still be at hurricane strength when it passes near Bermuda. Based on global model guidance, Melissa is forecast to become a strong extratropical cyclone over the northern Atlantic by 96 hours. And again, I have no words for this. We are still looking at this being a major hurricane as it approaches eastern Cuba. As you can see here with the 24-hour forecast, it is still 115 miles an hour and it is inland and then emerges over the open waters at 110 miles an hour there as it is starting to approach the southwestern or the southeastern and central Bahamas. Folks, please rush all your preparations to completion. This thing has been an overachiever in many, many ways. Don't mess with this storm. Do not mess with this storm. Do not underestimate this storm. Prepare, prepare, prepare. I can't stress this enough. We've got enough, and we don't need more. Please, everybody, I beg you to rush your preparations to completion and to seek sturdy shelter as this storm approaches your area. I'm begging you. Okay. Our rainfall forecast, this came out earlier this morning. We are going to go over it again. For these unfortunate people here in Jamaica, just tremendous amounts of rain, tremendous amounts of wind, tremendous amounts of surge, just every single impact that you could possibly bring from a tropical cyclone or hurricane. They're identical. Again, I'm at an absolute loss for words. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you folks. Just looking at some of the videos and stuff as I was getting prepared to go live here this afternoon, trying to gather up as much information as I could with the little amount of time that I had prior to the live after I got home. The things that I see so far, it's tough for me to hold tears back for these people because nobody deserves this. Nobody deserves this. Nobody. I don't care where you're located. I don't care where you're at. Nobody deserves this. And I'm hoping and praying that the work that we've done has saved just somebody, anybody. All life is precious. I wish I could have, saved them all. But what do? I mean, right now it's just sit here and watch this unfold, knowing that there are folks down there right now that will lose their lives to this storm. They will lose everything. And it's heartbreaking. It really is. Nobody deserves this. Nobody. As far as our friends over here in eastern Cuba, widespread 8 to 12 inches across the majority of the entire eastern portions of Cuba. I do know, and I do need to mention that the government of Cuba has upgraded Las Tunas into a hurricane warning. I do need to mention that, and in a tropical storm warning for the province of, I don't know how to pronounce that properly, and I'm not even going to try. I really need to learn Spanish. I honestly do. I need to take some kind of course or pull up Duolingo or something. And it's not necessarily learning Spanish. I just need to learn how to do pronunciations of other locations. And I know a lot of folks make fun of me during, non-serious times for my phonetic pronunciations and just how pathetic they are. But I do plan on trying to get better at that for next season. There's no doubt about it. It needs to be done. And the only way that you're ever going to improve on things is that you have to take the time and the effort to educate yourself. And that's when it comes to the tropics. Yeah, I take that very seriously. Very, very seriously. For, again, Eastern Cuba, you guys, locally 20 inches plus in the mountainous terrain. There's going to be massive amounts of landslides. Please, folks, rush all preparations to completion. And I'm not going to, fake around with any of this. If you have the ways and means of getting up the country here in Cuba, just evacuate this zone. Honestly, just leave. Just go, ride up, go up to Havana, other locations. Hell, we'll get locations. Let's see. Yeah, if you get up here, Esmeralda even, you should be safe. Coming up anywhere. What is this road? Carretera set. I don't know how to pronounce any of this stuff. But if you can get on this road, leave. Please get out of this zone if possible. You don't want to be there. The rain is going to be absolutely insane. The landslides, the flooding, and then the wind is going to come in. If you can, exit this zone safely, and please do so. I can see this main road right here that runs up right through Las Tunas. And it just keep on heading northwest till you get outside of that hurricane warned area, please. I beg of you folks. As far as our friends over here in all the islands, folks, this one is coming in from a different angle than usual. And this is going to be very impactful for a lot of these islands, especially these lower lying islands like here, Crooked Island, getting over to, what is that, Acklands. Here, granted, there's going to be some higher elevations, as we could see here by zooming in, maybe, hopefully, but there's going to be a considerable amount of storm surge and a considerable amount of wind. So the threat level is very, very high out here into portions of the Bahamas. What are we looking at here? This is Long Island. And again, all these folks are underneath a hurricane warning. I do know, like we've got an epic disaster unfolding down there in Jamaica. But these folks, we have to. We have to do it. Cat Island, Rum Cay, San Salvador. I mean, you're right in the middle of this as well. And as you can see, a lot of these places are going to be significantly impacted by this storm, even though weakening may occur as it moves across both mountainous terrain of Jamaica and eastern Cuba. But when you're starting out the weakening processes at 185 miles an hour and sub 900 millibars, it's going to hit land. It's going to weaken, but it's not going to weaken. It's still, but even both weakening phases, it's still going to pack one hell of a punch when it comes through the Bahamas. I mean, big time. And still forecast to be a hurricane in the vicinity of Bermuda, way up here. So if it's still forecast to potentially be a hurricane up here, imagine what it's going to be down here. And looking at what we already have, it's going to be very hard to truthfully imagine and fathom the situation that is currently unfolding down here in Jamaica. And this just makes me sick. This honestly makes me sick to my stomach, just looking at it. Knowing that all these innocent souls and lives, the children, the pets, the animals, even, everything, all life is precious. And Mother Nature is reminding us that at the end of the day, Mother Nature wins. No matter what we do, Mother Nature can always produce a scenario to where Mother Nature wins. And this is one of the situations right now. Oh, we're getting glitchy data. The one thing that I can say, I will pause that, and I'm going to bring this all the way to the back. If you look, this is a 3-hour-old loop. This is 180 frames of the mesoscale loop from GOES. 1 minute per frame. And as you could see, there is a considerable amount of these black colors here, which is representative of extremely cold cloud tops in and around the core of the storm. If we just take this forward to the end of the loop, we are now starting to see a reduction in some of those darker, colder cloud tops. But we are also beginning to see them maintain over the open waters here north of Jamaica. And it does seem like very likely that areas here, and especially in and around Montego Bay, are going to see hurricane and potentially major hurricane force winds as this continues. I would imagine their eye wall is getting awfully close. I'm going to try, folks. I'm going to try to get the radar up here. But please, I've bothered them so much that they have like, hey, too many requests, leave us alone. And I'm hoping that I can pull some radar from this. We do have it, but now the question is, are we going to see anything from it? No, we do not. And it's old as well. 1447Z is going to be in and around 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time this morning. Oh, I'm going to try to hit the refresh on it, and we'll see if it just absolutely rejects me here. I'm hoping. Nope. All right, let's go forward, see if we catch any frames. Again, it seems like it is pretty much shut off. So let's go here, and I will try Brian McNulty's site. Uh, we've got there, though it doesn't look like we are going to get anything for Jamaica here. Yeah, as you can see, it is Brian McNulty really does a lot with these radar loops. As you could see, this is what do you want? Whether it be out here in Super Typhoon Ragasa out here in the Western Pacific. I mean, it's he does a absolutely wonderful job on trying to provide information between him and the information that Matthew Capucci has been trying to provide, and some of the other folks as well. Dr. Needham's been out there trying to provide information. Like, shout out to everybody that's trying to keep people safe. And at the end of the day, that's really all we really look for. I know a lot of people out there say, "Oh, you've been waiting on this storm so you could get like clicks and attention." Are you nuts? Have you lost your mind? We don't ever want to see storms like this impacting people. Ever. And they're nice to watch if they sit out in the middle of the open ocean and they're not going to impact anybody. But, and I see that a lot on other professional social media accounts and stuff like that, where people, make these claims as to where this is what, meteorologists want to see. To those folks, from me personally, you need to get your head checked. You need to check your soul. And nobody, this is how I look at it. If you can even imagine someone else thinks like that, and the only reason is because that's how you think. That. And like a lot of people say, and all out and along social media, prove it. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that you don't, that's how you think and you put your thoughts onto others. Because we've seen this, and there's not a single person that has ever studied the tropics, whether they have a degree, whether they don't, whether they are, some of these couch, wannabe, weather people. I don't have a degree, but I've studied my ass off. I've done as much as I can with the time that I have, and I still do it to this day. I learn. I read. There's a lot of folks out there that won't read. They're allergic to words, and they exude a Dunning-Kruger type of personality, to where they think they are experts in the field. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert by any means. Not even close. What I can do, though, is communicate the threats and the information. I know how to do that. I understand exactly what I'm reading, exactly what I'm looking at. And then I do my best to explain that to others, and to try to get others to just stay safe. Because at the end of the day, if you're being impacted by something like this, I want to talk to you after it's over with. And it's nothing other than, I just want to know you're okay. That's it. If you need our help, by all means, we'll try to do everything that we can. Um, but as long as you're alive, that's our goal. 0 fatalities. Unfortunately, with this one, and such an intensity and such a bomb type system, being able to have no fatalities on the backside of this, it would be an absolute miracle. But we've already had reported fatalities with this, and I'm afraid of when we're looking at maximum sustained winds of 160 knots with gusts up to 190 knots. This here, these winds, these winds will throw cars. You just pick up a car and see ya. That's how bad this is. This will be a gust of wind that just comes by and absolutely obliterates a building. Just gone. Just crumble. That's what these winds are. Then what scares me more than anything is to those buildings that are just going to crumble with that instantaneous pressure of that massive wind gust. Was there anybody in that building? Was there anybody that was really depending on that building to keep them safe? How about the other buildings? Yeah. Winds like this is like the National Hurricane Center has done their best to try to communicate. We'll pull up the key message. I mean, this is just the key message. And they've even they did caps lock. They're trying to yell at people. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Take cover now. Catastrophic winds with total structural failure are likely near the path of Melissa's center. I mean, that total structural failure. We're not talking about a couple here and there. We're talking about total, complete structural failure. Total. Like, and I know there's many people that want to view what's going on. I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them at all. I don't want to watch those people suffer. I can't. I've been there. Not to this extreme, but I've been in similar situations. I can't watch that. I know what it's going to be. I can't. I can't. I will pull up GeoTrek, and we've got, they're doing, Hal and their team, shout out to them for putting all this together. I know that there are other entities out there that have got live cameras rolling. Like even if I just scroll down, look, live, all these live cameras, all these people that are, want to see. And a lot of this is what you see here. This is in Kingston. Okay. This is at least optimistic, because the capital, as you can see, there's still vehicles rolling around. All hell is breaking loose on the other side of the island. People are losing their lives, their businesses, their homes, their belongings. their pets. I mean, like, we're talking about total and complete destruction. And just if you look on the other side of the island, you got a person walking across the road like it's nothing. Which is okay. Let's be realistic about this. This is at least a small point of optimism. We look at the trees are blowing, but it is not catastrophic winds like we see on the other side of the island. So it is possible. I mean, we got people out here just sitting and chilling. This is a point of optimism because it allows the recovery process, the rebuilding process, to at least start somewhere. The infrastructure, the logistics, just the abilities, the airport, the airports, all of that stuff here located within the capital is going to be crucial and critical because this is going to end up being the hub for the recovery for the rest of the island. This is where, goods from other countries and folks that are coming from all over the world can be able to go. I'm not going to lie to you. This particular video that I'm watching here, this feed, I could actually watch this because we are not watching complete and total destruction. If there was nobody, if we knew for a fact that nobody was on the western side of the island, that complete and total destruction, if we knew that every single person was safe and they got all the pets and the wildlife and everybody out of there, because again, all life is precious, except maybe for a cockroach. I mean, let's be real. We're going to step on them. They still play a part in the chain, but like I said, all lives are precious, except maybe a cockroach. This is, I mean, I'm at a loss for words, folks. I don't know what to say. Huh? A bug is causing tracks from an older version of our experimental cyclone model to appear in the UI. Please use the downloadable data for the most recent version of our model. What the hell are we doing? You mean somebody's coming after the Google DeepMind? Or maybe an update? And look, this was the 6Z. This was issued at 2 o'clock in the morning. DeepMind didn't do a bad job. Now, landfall occurred right here in New Hope, White House region, and it could have been caused by the landmass itself, kind of deflecting it a little bit, because the storm is going to want to find the path of least resistance. And during that time, I can say that, getting down here, Treasure Beach, shut this off. Okay. Can I turn that off? Thank you. All of this received an unbelievable amount of surge. Black River, Treasure Beach, everybody in between. And the good thing about the Google DeepMind is that as soon as it kind of goes in, we can zoom in so far. And knowing that landfall up here, what is this, a lake? Oh, that would suck. These rivers, these are going to turn into absolute raging torrents of water. All of them. Every single one of them. Maggoty. Oh, I don't know if I could ever live in a place that was. I'll have to, I need to know more. I hope you didn't name that after a maggot. Ew. Heartbroken, folks. Not gonna lie. Just watching this, this entire region is going to be changed for a generation with a lot of loss of life. A lot. We do not have the 2 p.m. advisory yet, so I'm going to jump back over here to satellite. We've got the auto refresh on, so this is going to update every single minute with a new frame. That's the main reason why I try to exclusively use the Go satellite, and the eye is definitely contracting over land. We hope that we get a disruption and lose some of that symmetry. It's starting to look like it, but here's the problem. When we start to lose the symmetry and the coherence of the eye wall itself, little areas of little mesovortices or mesovortex will start rotating around the eye wall and potentially on the inside part of the eye wall itself. And seeing that this eye contracting as it is moving over land just means that the area itself is unfortunately the area into where the eye would go, and you would get that momentary pause of the destruction going on around. Now that has shrunk, that area of that pause also shrinks. And although hopefully with the warming of the cloud tops that we see here, as now that the storm itself is pretty much the entire circulation is now over land, we're hoping that does at least disrupt some of the symmetry that we see on this storm. Could you please break that eye wall? Just break it. Allow for some of the potential of dry air entrainment, or the shear component that has been there the whole time, and that Melissa has looked at it and just scoffed it and just like, yeah, whatever, yeah, you're shear, yeah, get away from me, like you're nothing to me. Just like blows it off like it was nothing. And it's unfortunate that this damn thing ended up over the loop current to the south of Jamaica, and I was afraid of that, and now we look at what we look at, and hopefully people will understand that that's why I kept mentioning that, because this is what I feared. Knowing how the Google DeepMind has performed with intensities all year long, and the Google DeepMind was taking it and going into just some unreal, uncharted territories. It verified. At the end of the day, it was right. Havs did a decent job as well, as far as the intensities are concerned. Have showed this. Google DeepMind stayed consistent on it. By far and away, not even remotely close to the best performing model that we have seen this season. And it's not even close. Shout out to Google. Guys, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for allowing, for creating something that allowed for even, just a few extra hours or an extra day of communicating the unbelievable threat that has now decided to unfold as we're getting into the end of the season. We were here. We were so close. So close to getting out of this season. without any major impacts. And now we didn't end up with just a major impact. We ended up with a damn humanitarian crisis from a massive impact. I'm at a loss for words over this. I just want to, you know, I'm fighting back tears because just watching this loop and knowing the power that is coming from this, how many people are suffering right now? Empathy in this world has been something that we, especially here in the United States, empathy has really taken a step back in our society and in our world. But even though it may have taken a step back with others, you're not going to get that from me. I'm not taking a step back with empathy. I feel horrible for these people. I really do. I've been here, not at this magnitude, but I've been in similar situations. And my heart breaks for these people. After this storm passes, they're gonna come out of their shelters and they're gonna look around and it's gonna look like a damn war zone. There's no doubt about it. And they're going to walk around in shock for a period of time, just being shell shocked because the landmarks that you used to use when you say you travel into town or down, you know, down through town, and you would come up and you always made a left at the, you know, the bank or whatever, this specific building, or you don't look at the road signs or anything like that because you know where you're going. And those are all those landmarks that are there. And when you come out after this, for those that have been in and around where this core is, you're going to emerge into a completely new world, a completely new situation that you have been presented with, to where there's no communication, there's no power or electricity, there's nothing. I mean, hell, you might even go and not hear a thing. I mean, and the reason being is that these folks that are going through this, I can imagine just what being in a, well, actually I can't, because I've never been in anything remotely close to this type of pressure gradient. But these people here, their ears are screaming at them. Their ears are going to pop like they were going up in an airplane, except they're still on the ground. Sharon, that is a good question. Um, it it's all going to depend upon its structure as it emerges over the open waters here north of Cuba, or north of Jamaica, south of Cuba. Could it maintain? Yes, definitely. Strengthen? I'm If it does try to re-strengthen some or reorganize some, um, it's certainly not going to reach this intensity. But being over the fuel source, a lot of it is going to have to depend directly on how does this look when it emerges over the open waters again. And even when, say, a part of the circulation still remains over land, once we get a little bit of that center over the open waters north of Jamaica again, it's going to be able to tap into that fuel source. It's the big question is, can we get this core disrupted before it exits? We won't know. We won't know. I mean, it right now, I want to say that it looks possible, because if you notice, the way that the cloud tops are warming as the rain bands rotate around. Um, I'm hopeful that this can degrade at least by a little bit. So this way, it's opportunity for reorganization out here. It, instead of strengthening, it spends that time trying to recalibrate itself and reorganize itself. And then when it would have the opportunity to then, okay, now it's gotten itself recalibrated and reorganized, now it's time to strengthen, bang, ran right into the wall of the mountains of Cuba. I don't want this thing to intensify at all anymore. This needs to go to the history books, and do it as quickly as possible. But unfortunately, we still know for a fact that we've got at least through today and all of tomorrow to impact all of these unfortunate souls that are in the path of this. Heartbreaking. All right, let's go through our intermediate advisory. I'm pretty sure it's up. All right, we have now. Okay, all right. It's weakening some. As of the 2 p.m. intermediate advisory, we are located at 18.2 north, 78.0 west, about 20 miles south-southwest of Montego Bay, Jamaica, about 230 miles southwest of Guantanamo, Cuba. Maximum sustained winds have come down to 165 miles an hour. I cannot believe I just said that. They have come down to 165 miles an hour. This has been by far the most powerful storm on the planet for 2025. And that also is superior to what we had with Super Typhoon Ragasa out there in the Western Pacific. This passed it, no doubt about it. It is still moving north-northeast or 25 degrees at 8 miles an hour, and the minimum central pressure has come up to 999 millibars. And again, I can't even believe that I am saying that it's come up, it's gone down, and the numbers that I'm still saying are just incomprehensible. That they've fallen 20 miles an hour, and it's still 165. What? This is what I'm afraid of. Is that it's still going to be able to keep enough structure that it could potentially hit Cuba as a high-end Cat 4 or mid-grade Cat 4. That when we start to get into that Category 4 status, when we get into that 130 mile an hour and above, the damages only increase exponentially as you start to get into that range. The damage can be complete in many areas. We still have a hurricane warning in effect. We had no changes with this advisory for Jamaica and all up now of eastern Cuba. We have the hurricane warning, and also for the southeastern and central Bahamas with our hurricane warning. Tropical storm warning is in effect for all of Haiti, the Cuban province of that place right there, and the Turks and Caicos. I'll figure out how to pronounce this once I get out of the live. I'm going to make a phone call about that one. Interest in Bermuda, obviously, you guys will be seeing watches issued here later today or tonight. Wouldn't be surprised if you guys get it at the 5. And if not at the 5, you will definitely get it at the 8 or 11. Certainly not going to go into the following day. All right, our hazards affecting land with our new intermediate advisory. Catastrophic winds are spreading over Jamaica within the eye wall of Melissa. Total structural failure is likely near the path of Melissa, especially in higher elevation areas, where wind speeds atop and on the windward side of hills and mountains could be up to 30% stronger. Do not venture out in the eye, as the winds will rapidly increase within the backside of the eye wall. Tropical storm conditions are expected to begin in eastern Cuba during the next few hours, with hurricane conditions expected in the hurricane warning area starting tonight into Wednesday morning. Tropical storm conditions are expected in Haiti later today and Wednesday. Hurricane conditions are expected in the southeastern and central Bahamas on Wednesday. Tropical storm conditions are expected in and hurricane conditions are possible in the Turks and Caicos Island on Wednesday. For our rainfall, Melissa is expected to bring rainfall of 15 to 30 inches of portions of Jamaica and an additional rainfall of 6 to 8 inches with localized maximum to 12 inches for southern Hispaniola through Wednesday, with storm total local maxima of 40 inches possible. Catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides are likely. For eastern Cuba, storm total rainfall of 10 to 20 inches with local amounts of 25 inches is expected into Wednesday, resulting in life-threatening and potentially catastrophic flash flooding with numerous landslides. Over the southeast Bahamas, rain is expected to Rain is expected to develop later today and continue into Wednesday. Total rainfall of 5 to 10 inches is expected to result in areas of flash flooding. For the Turks and Caicos, rainfall to 2 to 4 inches are expected. Heavy rain may begin to affect Bermuda Thursday night. Storm surge. We are still looking at the same accelerated and elevated values that we were discussing earlier. 9 to 13 feet for portions of Jamaica, 2 to 4 feet in and around the Montego Bay area. We are also looking at 8 to 12 feet somewhere along the coast of southeast Cuba, and a storm surge of 5 to 8 feet for the southeastern Bahamas and 2 to 4 for the Turks and Caicos. Surf. I shouldn't have to explain it. Well, we have minor coastal flooding expected along the coast of Haiti, but surf. Keep your carcass out of the water. Could have said that in a much different way. Considered it, but no. All right. All right, folks. I don't really know what much more else that we can discuss here. We're in the nowcasting mode. A lot of what I do is kind of the forecasting mode, trying to keep people safe. Again, I am going to go ahead and sign off here for a little while. I will be back at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central with our normal timing and normal updates. It's hard for me to sit here and watch this satellite loop, folks. I'm not going to lie to you, because I know what's going on down there. And I know the people, you know, that the situation that these people are in. And this is not easy for me to do. And I know for mental health purposes, and I know a lot of folks would be like, hey, you can get over it. These people are going through a lot more, and they are. You are right. But I'd like to keep my sanity and not think about what is ongoing right now for a little bit. I will be back at 6. We'll go over everything. By that point in time, we're probably going to see the center of circulation re-emerging over the northern shore of Jamaica and out into the waters again. So we will keep a very, very close watch on that as that begins to emerge, and then we start to hear things coming out of Jamaica. So folks, I think I'm going to grab the dog and may go outside for a little bit. Maybe just take her for a walk. Just something to just separate myself from the thoughts of absolute despair and devastation that is ongoing for these folks. So please, y'all, in up the line, Eastern Cuba, Bahamas, Bermuda, please rush your preparations to completion. Don't take this storm lightly. Don't underestimate it. It has been an overachiever its entire time, and Let's hope it doesn't overachieve with the statistics after it's said and done with. All right, everybody. Oh my God, Betty, no. Oh, Miss Betty, no. Oh, I got a message here on Facebook. I am going to need to read for the folks on YouTube because you can't hear it. Posted 1 hour ago. Westmoreland's Parish Disaster Coordinator. So, Westmoreland, let's get. There's Westmoreland, right here. Right here on the very, very eastern part of this western tip. So if we come back to here, the very eastern part of the western tip, we can guarantee they were in the eye wall. And now what I am about ready to read, this is heartbreaking. Yes, ma'am. Please don't apologize, Miss Betty. Please don't. I hadn't. No, ma'am. So, the Westmoreland Parish Disaster Coordinator has suffered a stroke while carrying out her duties amid Hurricane Melissa. Government officials confirmed that she is currently receiving treatment at the hospital. I don't know what to say. No, not that the situation wasn't already bad. Now you have your disaster coordinator. Situation's worse. I don't know what to say. I really don't, folks. All right, I gotta go. I'll be back at 6 p.m. with our normal updates. I gotta go outside. I'm sorry, folks. I'll talk to y'all later.